Now switch over to our Sounders and uh yeah, no. So the last time we talked about the Sounders, it was frustrating because the club had just been bounced from the League's Cup, and Monterrey had kind of dashed any hopes after Seattle started out really hot. And I thought maybe that the time off, the 21 days, I believe it was, between matches, would be enough for Seattle to get some creativity back, get some time off, get their minds fresh. Um, and to be able to reset and just get back into things, get back into how they looked in the early part of the season when they were building their lead atop the Western Conference, when they were smashing things, when Leo Chu and Jordan Morris were connecting, when they were getting a clean sheet nearly every game. No, no, it was not the case. Uh, sorry, the Sounders would lose this one by a 2-goal differential, failing to get on the scoreboard. Our player of the match, midfielder João Paulo. João Paulo was the highest rated Sounders player of the game, the 7.1 match rating and 68 minutes of play, with 883 passing percentage, and 2 chances created, even though the Sounders are only listed with having 1 chance created, 1 major chance, and missing it. This game, uh, and the photo here by Bryan Saldana, a photo of the game, kind of just summarizes the feeling of a lot of people in Lumen Field as Freddie Montero sits here after a near chance. It just, there's not a lot of creativity with this Sounders team right now. There's not a lot of cohesion. There doesn't look very they don't look like they're clicking. They had some chances in the second half. They did look better than they had in the first half when things were pretty ugly. It was pretty mundane, but things kicked up a little bit, but not enough. And it was, the saying "too little, too late." Um, not only was it too late, but it was just too little as well. Like even what they had produced was not enough. Um, I mean, it's hard to say with this team right now. There's got to be some change. At this point, I don't know why you continue to put out somewhat similar lineups. I know they'd change, and I believe it was the first time they'd seen that certain lineup last night. But there are some guys who are starting who maybe shouldn't be starting. You maybe inject some life, some players who haven't been able to get that starting minutes or major minutes at all, and give them an opportunity to go out and prove themselves and earn more time and maybe earn more money. There are some players, quite a few players here whose contracts end at the end of the season, um, and they should arguably be playing a lot better if they want to earn another contract or a better contract when the offseason comes around. His contract is up. Javier Arriaga's contract is up. Both Cleveland and Fry, both Stephs, their contracts are up. Nico Ladero, Freddie Montero, Kellen Rowe, Albert Rusnak, all of those players, their contracts are going to be up. So it's going to be, Fry, Ladero, Montero, and Rowe all out of contract. Hebert, Javier, Steph Cleveland, and Rusnak all have options, but it's a big offseason for the Sounders. It's going to be the 50th anniversary of the club. Longacres is going to open. They're going to reveal the new crest. It's a really pivotal time. I know Craig Weibel, the general manager of the Sounders, has said that they've made the moves that they have to be strategic and to play out in the long term. But obviously right now, when you're trying to make the playoffs, you're not worried about the long term. A lot of people aren't worried about that. I'm not. I mean, it's been hard to watch this team put together dud after dud, week after week. They haven't really been the same team since they got drubbed 4-1 in Portland on April 15th, after taking the lead in that game late. So it's really frustrating because they've been in a funk. They haven't scored more than 2 goals in a match. They've only done so twice since April 15th. So and it's becoming a watch of a season so far. There were some boos at the end of the match. A lot of people had already left before the last whistle had blown. So there's got to be some accountability after the second goal that Atlanta scored. A lot of the players, as they waited for the game to reset, just had their hands on their hips and were looking into the sky. It's like, hey, this is nobody to blame but yourself. for a lot of this, you know. So yeah, it's pretty rough. It's pretty rough right now, and there has to be some accountability. They still have some time to remain in a playoff spot. They are still somehow, some miraculous way, in fourth place in the Western Conference, which is a playoff spot. But it doesn't. You know, it's hard to imagine that even if they make the playoffs, that they're going to go farther than the first round. So the injury report versus Atlanta: Kellen Rowe was out with a right quad strain, and Dylan Tevis was out with a left hamstring strain. Stephen Fry was questionable, but did play in this match. He became the Sounders' all-time leader in appearances, taking over for Osvaldo Alonso. And Christian Roldan was questionable with concussion protocol. He wasn't listed technically as in protocol when the match came around, but he was not available for selection against Atlanta. So tough to see all this as well when you've got one of your best players out. So the Sounders sit at a 10-win, 9-loss, 6-draw record at 36 points in the table, 11th in the entirety of the league, 4th in the Western Conference by some miracle. Looking ahead, their next match, as you can see on your screen, August 26th at Minnesota United FC with a 1:30 p.m. Pacific time kick. Seattle has had strong fortune against the Loons in recent memory, but with the way that their performance has gone as of late and the way that they have played as of late, not even just as late, for most of the season, it's hard to imagine that sort of strong push continues for the Sounders here.